Jacob, you got a copy? Mark and Phil, can you got a copy?
Yes, sir. I
Yes,
got
sir,
it.
I do.
Jacob, you got a copy? Well, anyways, we'll get Jacob here. He looks like he's unmuting himself and muting himself back. Jacob, can you hear us now? Well, we'll get Jacob in here in a second. I'll start with the interviews, guys. Mark and Phil, welcome to the Championship Six. It's both of you guys' first time being here, so congratulations on the success for the season. Mark, I'm going to start with you, and then I'll go to Phil with the same question. Uh, how does it feel to make it all the way to the Championship Six?
Honestly, it kind of feels surreal with all the phenomenal talent through all from season beginning to at this point. I honestly didn't think I was gonna. I saw myself even making it to the playoffs, let alone the championship six.
And Phil?
Oh, yeah, it's awesome, man. I mean, I've actually been with the league a while now and kind of just been hit and miss in my races, man, and kind of probably running at the bottom, and probably being part of the underdog, if you will, So, well, here I am now, and this is actually fucking awesome to know I can run with these guys now.
Well, good deal. Jacob, can you hear us now?
Yes, I got you. Can you
Okay.
hear me?
Okay.
All right, now
Yeah.
we're good.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Now we're good.
Mike was a little
Okay.
bit off right there. Sorry about that.
Yeah, Jacob, he is the redneck announcer. He's been announcing along with Dean Hopton, producing this series all season long for season 8 on the NASWA 360 Racing Network. Jacob's even had the pleasure of racing a couple of times this season with these guys. So Jacob, what would be? I just asked him. I don't know if you heard or not, but I just asked him. How does it feel to get to the championship six for the first time? So I'll pass it off to you if you got a question for him.
Yeah, I mean, I could ask Mark this right here. I mean, granted, the first time for both of them coming in, but Mark, I mean, this is your first season with Nazra as a whole. I mean, am I right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I mean, you coming in basically a rookie making the championship six. I mean, the last person that we seen something like that happen was Jeff Merrick, who got knocked out last week. So, what's the mindset for you coming in as a rookie and getting to play with the big boys now?
Um, Definitely the mindset would be is just mind my p's and q's. It's a long race. Been doing some practicing day in and day out. I just want to make sure I hit my marks and make sure I'm there for the long run. Yeah, at the end.
What about you, Phil?
Yeah, I mean, that's it. I just want to be there at the end, man. Hit all the marks, like Mark said. I think I'm playing on house money here. I don't think anybody had me being in this last round here, so I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna have a good time. Whatever happens, happens. But I'm gonna race my tail off. I can promise you that.
Well, just for the viewers at home that really don't know, or haven't really followed the season, maybe hit and miss on it. Nobody has teammates this season. This is the first time ever, I know for a fact, that nobody really has a teammate to lean on or actually race against for the championship. Mark races for Warrior Racing Esports. Phil, I mentioned, was BP Racing for Autism. Matthew David Woods, Highline Racing. Joey Doucette's not running with a team at all this season. Keith Bradley is Upfront Motorsports, and Adam Newton Sick With It Motorsports. So nobody has team affiliations with anybody. Phil and Mark, we asked some of our fans and drivers, some of your peers, to ask some questions for the show. One of them asked, and I'm going to combine this with two guys because I think you can kind of go hand in hand. We'll start with you, Mark. What was your biggest strength of the season? And when was your moment throughout the playoffs where you felt like you might not make it through to the championship six?
I guess my biggest strength throughout the season would be kind of like my consistency towards the end. At the beginning of the season, I would wreck and then I would just F4 quit. I'd be like, whatever. But it wasn't until I think about 9 races before the playoffs started, to where I was like, all right, you know what, I was like 29th or something like that. I was like, let me see what I can do. And then I, like, week in week out, I was getting better and better and better. And well, I was top 10, top 15, top here, top there. But I was kind of for the playoffs. I was kind of worried last week in Chicago. I know Talladega had a pretty good points and a good run. Um, I was kicking myself for not going on the outside of Brady there, probably fighting for the win. But I mean, Chicagoland, I just had that hour practice, and I was just kind of like, well, I have what I have, and I was talking to my teammates, asking where, where Phil was, where Dean was, where Merck was, where anybody was, because I was kind of worried they were going to get those playoff points, those stage playoff points, and knock me out.
And what was so Phil, same question to you. What was your biggest strength of this season? And then what was your moment where you felt like you might just not make it through?
I think what got me here, man, was I just had to keep on keeping on. Really, I know early in the season, man, we got a lot of DNFs. There's actually quite a couple in a row, I think, and just I had to keep going, man. And then we hit the playoffs there, and I was in the playoffs. And obviously, once we got into the playoffs, I was like, man, I got a good shot at this. I just need to keep clicking off some good races. I don't have to win, just gotta keep points racing, if you will, and it's worked. And then I think the moment I was probably the most worried was all that last round. I mean, fucking Dega. We ran well first half of the race. We got wrecked at the end. I was like, we're gonna go into Chicago here with we're gonna be buried in the points, probably have to win. And I think just the way the race played out, it didn't happen that way. And then even last week at Chicago, man, ran well first stage and all that, and we were probably gonna bring home a top 5 easily. We had some contact there at the end with Keith, put us all the way in the back of the pack with about 10 laps to go, and I was like, well, this is done. We're all done here. But somehow we made it, just the way the race played out there again. The points we were able to make, it all worked out.
And Jacob, if you want to ask
Well,
them the next question.
well, actually, I got one for both of them. Obviously, I mean, the championship six that we're seeing right here. I mean, it's stacked with, I mean, just guys that, I mean, wow. I mean, just the whole championship six lineup is just straight up stacked. So, I mean, this question really for both of you: who do you feel like is your biggest competition out of the championship six for Homestead tomorrow night?
For me, honestly, it's everybody. You can't really single out one person. I mean, they all had great runs throughout the season to even get to this
That's a
point.
cop out. You got to pick somebody.
Yeah, pick somebody.
Um, well, I guess kind of the obvious. I mean, either Keith Bradley or MDW. Newton. I mean, Phil. I'll do four. Um, they're all, it's
Hell,
gonna
add the
be
fifth one in. You got four. Add the fifth one.
Yeah, yeah. But
Joey.
he
But
started with Keith Bradley. We're going to take Keith Bradley as his
Okay,
answer.
all right. I'll do Keith Bradley, and I'll add in MDW in there as well. They've just been consistent and upfront year in, year out. They've had misfortune throughout some of the races to be either get out of top 10 or didn't get a chance to contend for the win. But I mean, like I said, they've always been consistent, race in, race out.
What you got, Phil?
Yeah. I mean, I want to cop it out too, say all of them, because we're all here. I mean, they're all hard to race against. But if I had to pick one, I think I'm gonna go with Mark. Mark's just been on an absolute heater this year, and he is always up front there. So I think he's gonna be the guy to beat this week.
You just
Okay,
saying that
so
because he's in here,
yeah,
ain't you?
yeah, that's what I was about to say. We got a little bromance going on because they teamed up
I,
together to do this interview.
I honestly did not know he was in here, guys. I'm sorry.
So guys, just to kind of recap your seasons, Phil, you make it in this final round. Um, just to kind of recap, Keith Bradley was the #1 seed, and Matthew David Wood gets in here second. Mark had a strong round. Phil, I actually thought this was going to be the worst round for you. You're just not known for your super speedway talent. and then also Chicagoland. I just felt like if Dover was in here, Milwaukee Mile, but you find a way to make it in. You went to Chicagoland. You racked up a bunch of stage points. You make it in behind Adam Newton in the fifth spot. Joey Doucette gets in by 1 point. So that was interesting. Dean Doucette is the first one out. Then Nathan Maurer, then Jeff Merck had to win his way in because of penalties at Talladega. So he didn't qualify at Chicagoland. So he was in a must-win situation. And we saw Brian Chu in a must-win situation also, and he lost it an opportunity to run for a championship off of turn 4. So just a crazy last 5 laps of that race. I know Jacob was excited to call that race. But for the viewers at home, Phil, you got 1 pole on the season, no wins, 3 top 5s, 10 top 10s. Mark, you have no poles, no wins, 5 top 5s, and 9 top 10s. So similar stats between the two. We just talked about competition. I want to get personal with both of you guys. Uh, who's the one guy that you just cannot stand? Now, remember, the only person in this field that is a champion is Keith Bradley. So the vast majority of the field is going for their first championship ever. Keith would only be the one going for a 2-time champion. Mark, you would actually be able to replicate what Jeff did last season, his first season in Nazareth, winning a championship. So you had that opportunity. Uh, what's the one person you don't want to see win the championship? Like you might not like him on the track, and you're like, man, I hope he doesn't win it. And what's the other person that if you can't win it, you hope that he wins it?
Oh, well, you definitely kind of put me on the spot with that one. I haven't had any issues with anybody throughout the season.
There's
I've
got to be
always,
somebody. There's got to be. It feels he can't touch you. I promise you. He might be about 2 feet away from you on
Let's get some
the
beef. Come on.
screen, but there's got to be somebody you're like, man, I hope Keith doesn't win another one.
I mean, yeah, like, I mean, if you want to be like, I guess if I want to be I don't want to say the man, he always wins the type of guy, then yeah, Keith Bradley. Like, I would hate to see him win another one. I mean, because for it is always cool to see, because you don't want to. I mean, you do, but you don't want a Jimmy Johnson in the league. And Keith is, to me, Keith kind of simulates or is identify. He's like a Jimmy Johnson in the league. He's always
Yeah,
winning.
he's similar to that.
Yeah. But I guess I'll if I would want somebody to win it, like, yeah, he deserves it. I mean, again, I don't mean to cop out, but I mean, uh, I'll say all. But if I were to choose one, honestly, um, can I be selfish and say me?
Oh, you got to pick somebody beside yourself.
Oh, okay. All right.
Mm,
Well,
he tried.
I'll yeah, I'll say Newton. I think
Okay.
Newton kind of deserves it. I mean, like I said, I know we all deserve it. We've all had ups and down seasons. Um, but Newton and MDW, because I mean, I remember that road
Well,
course.
we're going with just Newton. We're just
Okay,
going with Newton
Newton sounds good.
and Phil.
Oh man, you guys are gonna put me on a spot here. If there's one guy, like I said, like Mark said, I don't have any issues with anybody in the league personally, but I think if there's one guy I don't want to see win, it is probably going to be Adam Newton. Opposite of what Mark said. Nothing against the guy personally, but he's a very hard racer on the track to the point where it frustrates the crap out of you. He is that guy that will pinch you down in the corner on lap 5 because he doesn't want you to have that spot, things like that. So, nothing against the guy personally. He just frustrates me on the track. So, I don't. If I have to pick somebody that I don't want to see win, probably him. And if I had to pick somebody to win, man, I think I might have to go with, not because he's in here, but I'm gonna go with Mark. Probably it is his rookie year, and I think it'd be cool to win in your rookie year for sure. So I'm gonna go with that.
Y'all
Well,
are putting a
Jake.
lot of pressure on me.
Well, Jacob, the bromance is alive for sure with these two. Any last? Well, Cody Knott, our producer, just chimed in. He's definitely picking Mark because he owns Warrior Racing Esports in this series. Jacob, any last words for Mark and Phil?
No, I mean, just good luck to both of you. I mean, both you guys have had, honestly, hellacious seasons. Both of you has. I mean, both of you's done fantastic job. Both of you have fought it out, survived the chaos that we've seen over the past couple of weeks. So both of you have earned the right to be in that championship 6 and go make the best of it.
All righty, I appreciate it, guys.
Absolutely, Mark and Phil. Congratulations for making it. Hey, it doesn't matter, in the win column or stats, how you make it this far. All it matters is having an opportunity to pull it off, and you don't have to win the race to win the championship. So, good luck to both of you guys. May the best man win, and we look forward to watching you guys tomorrow night. Give them hell at Homestead, Miami.
All right, guys, thanks.
Yes, sir. We greatly appreciate it. Awesome. Thank you guys, both of you.
All right, and that was producers transferring right now, transitioning over. That was Mark and Phil, especially Phil. Racing for Eric Zimmerman and his team. We acknowledged that at the beginning of the show. Eric losing his mother today, so I know Phil's gonna do the best that he can to definitely try to win a championship for that group. I know it would be bring a lot of joy to Eric to see that tomorrow night. So, but Jacob, Mark, and Phil, like I said, no wins on the season. Do you think one of them wins the race tomorrow night to win the championship?
Uh, they got to win it. No, I don't think they're going to have to win the
I didn't say they
race,
had to
but
win it. Do you think one of them's capable of winning it?
well, I mean, yeah. I mean, because both of them, I mean, you called the stats off, Brady. I mean, both of them have all the talent to be able to get up there and get that win. Now, little luck probably don't hurt as well because you never know what can happen, especially at Homestead. We've seen crazy stuff happen at Homestead numerous times. So, do I think they can win? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I really think that they got a chance that they could go up there and contend, and they could be one of the guys that we could be sitting there looking with like 3 laps to go and say, "Damn, look at them! They're up there leading this race."
Yeah, so it seemed like Mark doesn't want to see Newton win, or was it Mark doesn't want to see Keith Bradley win, but he wants to maybe not mind Adam Newton winning. And
Right.
then Phil doesn't like, not necessarily don't like, doesn't want to see Newton win,
Mm-hmm.
but wants to see, somebody like Mark win. So very interesting picks between the two, I guess Phil, we got to find out some more. Hopefully, if Phil wins the championship, we could dive down into that little rivalry that we didn't know that maybe appeared. But that for tomorrow night's race, whenever they're racing side by side, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, and it may end up running into that situation where Phil may be sitting there thinking about that, going, "Well, pinches me down on lap 5 and everything. Well, it's lap 5. I'm right here with Newton. Well, guess what? If he pinches me, I ain't gonna lift." And I mean, that's when you hear it all the time. I've heard it numerous times where the drivers sit there and say, I'm gonna hit them when it hurts. I've heard that numerous times where drivers say, "Well, I just hit them when it hurts. I'm not going to worry about them this week or this week or this week. I'm just going to hit them when it really hurts them." So it might be a little bit interesting between that. I wouldn't think Mark would do anything like that. Certainly wouldn't think that Adam would do anything like that. But you never know. I mean, when the bright lights is on at Homestead, you never know what can happen.
Yeah. And like I said earlier, I mean, these 6 guys, all different paths to get here, different stat lines. Only champion that's in this field is Keith Bradley. So the odds are against him, but I definitely wouldn't count him out each and every week. So we're gonna get our next round of interviews up. We got Joey Doucette coming on. We got Matthew David Wood. I'll probably just say Matthew Wood, but we got those guys coming up for our next round of interviews. Joey, Matt, you got a copy?
Yeah, I got a copy.
That's Matt's soundboard. Every time you move him in a channel, he's got the crowd going wild. So he's getting ready for this interview. Uh, but guys, thank y'all for joining us tonight. Welcome to the podcast. Uh, how's everybody doing today?
I'm doing good.
I'm
Hot.
doing good.
All right, I think we're having some technical difficulties with Matt's camera. We'll get that fixed here soon.
There we
First off, I'll start. There we go. What's up, Matt? How you
Yeah.
doing, man?
I finally got it to work.
I got you. Well, first off, guys, congratulations making it here. It's a real big accomplishment. As you know, Joey, you've been here a couple of times, and Matt, I know it's your first season with us. Congratulations on making it. You are in the same category as Jeff. As I said to Mark, being your first season, being able to win the championship, we could have that back-to-back seasons. Joey, like I said earlier, just a while ago, you've been here a couple of times, come up short. But the bright side for you is I've been saying it all week long, and I even said it on the last podcast. We're going to your best track, in my opinion. I mean, Homestead is where you shine. You seem to run well there. I know Matt uh, runs in a league on Saturday night, and they just so happen, Jacob, to run at Homestead, Miami Speedway. So Matt's probably got about 150 laps over everybody just Saturday night. But my first question to both of y'all, and we'll start with Joey and then go to Matt, is talk to us a little bit about the season of how you got here and how did the season progress for you to make it to the playoffs. Joey, I know you were going crazy after Chicagoland when you uploaded the points. You made it in by 1 point. Matt was on a different end of it, knowing that he maximized stage points. He was like 20 points coming into the good. Then he was pretty much locked in after stage two. So Matt was just kind of coasting. We'll get into the Chicago race here in a second, but talk to us a little bit about your season thus far from your driver point of view.
Just a lot of ups and downs. Didn't have any wins. A couple top fives, couple top tens. But overall, I mean, I did the best I could. But yeah, going into Chicagoland, I didn't think I was gonna make it. I just knew that I needed to run good. Got like 7 points in stage one, 6 or 5 in stage two, and then all hell broke loose with a couple of wrecks there at the end, and then obviously Jose and Brian Chu wrecking there at the end. Really helped me out. I was just ecstatic. I was when you told me to come into Discord. When you doing the points, I was like, I'm doing them now. I need to know if I made it. And once I loaded everything up and I saw that I made it over Dean by 1, I mean, Dean had a dominant truck at Chicagoland, and I'm just thankful that a little luck was on my side, and I'm just glad to be here.
And Matt?
Yeah, it's been a long season, especially for me. We've had our ups and downs. Definitely had a lot of ups and downs, but of course, our best race was Kentucky. Great car, great truck all night. Got that win. Going into Chicagoland, I knew just cruise. Of course, could have had a shot at that, but I got a speeding penalty. But it is what it is. Stuck for Dean. He again up front all night, and Merck going. I mean, you got to look at it from both perspectives. Merck had he had to win, and he was going for it. Netcode, he pushed him up too far, and Netcode got them both, and then they're both out. They don't make it, and that's unfortunate for both of them. But for Joey, that's that's incredible for him. The biggest stroke of luck you could have possibly had. But we've been wrecked a lot this season, and I think that's just for me putting myself in a difficult situation. Auto Club, we didn't qualify well. Big wreck off of 2, and then I hit the opening on the inside wall. Dega, it's Dega. Ended up having my first flip ever at Dega. But overall, it's been a really, really fun season. And like you said, I've had about 150 laps of practice. Christopher Sain has really helped me. coming up into this week, and there's a lot of things I've learned over that race that hopefully will help me. But this kind of a track I've never been good at ever, so we'll roll it with it and see how it goes.
Well, before I let Jacob ask y'all a round of questions, I got to know, where did you finish at Saturday night?
Ended up third, right behind the leaders who almost wrecked each other. We were all battling the whole race for the lead. We were 3 wide at one point, I believe. It was a great race, but Christopher Stange came out on top, and he was just on rails on the long run and couldn't get back to him. I thought, please wreck each other, please wreck each other. Pushed each other all the way down to the apron in turn 3, and it's just hard racing. So I came out with P3, and I'm happy with that.
Well, damn, Brady, I think you kind of stole my question. That's exactly what I was fixing to ask him. but
I
but
had to know.
anyway.
I had to know real quick.
Yeah, you kind of beat me on that one, but I got another one for him, and obviously I'll start with Joey. Joey, I mean, you've had this nickname that's been the Joker for quite some time. Have you embraced that? Because we say it a lot, to where you get up there, you take the lead, or you're battling for the lead, that you're just laughing literally all the way to the bank. I mean, do you embrace that, or because sometimes we give guys names or nicknames, and sometimes they don't like them. But have you embraced that nickname?
Yeah. Since that broadcast at Nashville Super Speedway, where the Batman Brady LaBeouf, battling him, and it just stuck, and I just went with it, and I loved it ever since. I mean, it was a great battle between me and Brady there, and you guys on the call, and I'm like, all right, I get it. I got a purple truck, I could do this. I could be the bad guy, the Joker. So I just stuck with it and ran with it. But a couple other people have nicknames for me, but Adam Newton's one of them, and he likes to call me Panda Pancake, but I put a curse on him, so he hasn't called me that ever since, because he's never finished a race if he called me that. So that's out of the question. Don't even know how that got up, but the Joker's going to always be the Joker. So.
And MDW, I mean, I gotta ask you, dude. How many damn cars have you got on that wall? I mean, is that die-cast cars that you got on the wall? How many is that?
120 right now, and I got 15 more to put up, like right there.
I mean, are they NASCAR, or is it like
Yeah, they're
NHR,
NASCAR.
or all of them?
I'm getting all of them.
I just had to ask that one, Brady.
That's
I mean, you
awesome.
kind of
That's
I mean,
awesome.
you threw me off. I was gonna ask him where he finished that Saturday night, so I was looking at all the cars and I was like, wow. But yeah, I mean, that's my first round.
I got you. Well, we'll go back to some of our fan questions for you guys. One of them, I've kind of combined this with Mark and Phil, and we'll kind of go to it again. One fan asked, "What do you think was your biggest strength this season?" I know Matt already kind of talked about Kentucky. Joey, we're gonna start with you again. What was your biggest strength this season? And then I'll piggyback with it with another one that says, when did you think that you weren't going to make the championship 6?
It was a mediocre season for me. I came back from last year. I think I had like 11 or 12 top 5s, now to 6 and 7 top 10s and stuff like that. So, I mean, it was a big struggle. There wasn't no really high point. Like I said, I haven't won a race. So I'm kind of in the seat of Kevin Harvick during his last season of not winning a race for so many years, or winning a race every year in the Cup Series, and not winning a race his last season. And so I'm on that brink, but I want to turn that around, maybe bring a win at Homestead and just call it good, right off to the sunset with a championship and a win in the last race. But where I didn't think I was going to make it, Talladega. Got wrecked out early, didn't get stage points in stage 1 or stage 2, but managed to finish 14th there. And it was all in the balance. I was the odd man looking out. And just right there, I was like, I don't know if I can make it up, because I think I had Dean in front of me. I had Phil. So I was like points racing there in Chicago. So frankly, I was out in Talladega, but I just kept racing my heart out, and here I am.
And Matt?
Yeah. I don't really think this season that I had a doubt of making the final six. Of course, towards the end of the season, at the beginning of the season, it was hard. But I just kept, all I knew, stay consistent in the stages because stage points are going to matter. Playoff points are going to matter. And just being consistent was going to matter. And no matter how many times we'd get bounced down, we'd bounce right back up. And, it was definitely tough at times, I would say. I think one of the lowest points of the season would definitely be Montreal, leading by, I think it was 40 seconds and making that mistake. That hurt. And then we came back and, mad as ever, came back and won. Um, but yeah, like I said, I think just my strong point this season has been stages. Um, but yeah, like it's not going to matter. Stages aren't going to matter at Homestead. It's going to be about long run pace. It's going to be about the end of the race, and hopefully we can go and do the same kind of thing we did at Kentucky. But I think it's going to be hard. You got to stay consistent. If you're running the high side, you got to stay consistent. If you're running the bottom, you got to make sure to not burn your stuff up. It's a lot of different things that a lot of different people can do, and I think it's going to be a fun race. And there's a lot of sleepers. I think there's a lot of sleepers that I've been watching the past couple of weeks that are going to come up and try to steal this thing from people like Keith. Keith dominated the points throughout the whole season. Then of course um, Joey came along and stole it from Dean. Stole that from Dean, who him and Merck had a really good second half of the season. They were really really strong, and I didn't see this coming at all. But over the past couple of weeks, I've been watching you, Joey. I mean, you've been getting stronger and stronger and more consistent, battling up for the top five. So, again, just everybody in the top six. I think we're all going to fight it out. There's not going to be somebody that's laying back. There's not going to be somebody that's back in the pack having a mediocre day because each one of us have earned our way here, and it's going to be a tight battle, and I think it's going to be a fun one.
Well, I mean, and guys, I ask y'all basically the same thing that I asked Mark and Phil. Um, who are y'all more worried about out of everybody in the championship six? And Mark tried to say everybody, but I mean, if you have one guy out of the championship six, and he could be in here sitting in here talking to us right now. If you have one guy you had to worry about tomorrow night, who's that guy?
Oh man, probably Keith. Definitely Keith. Especially with the pace that he had at Phoenix, that was scary fast. If he puts that kind of run up again, I mean, he's gonna be a really big threat like he has been all season. There's a reason we call him the animal.
All right, Joey, what you thinking?
Keith. Um, for the past 4 seasons, from season 4, out of all the races, Keith's won 2 at Homestead, and I've won 1. And I think that's what it's going to come down to. Keith is really good there, and I know what he can do there. So
Well, all right. Well, there's kind of some breaking news. I don't know if anybody really knows this. I didn't bring this up to Phil or Mark, but this possibly could be our last round of interviews. I know Adam Newton's actually racing tonight for a championship in another league. So we're going to try to kind of string this out a little bit to maybe get him on. Keith's actually been in the hospital over the weekend for 3 days. Keith got bit by a spider on his foot, and it was pretty bad. It was swollen. He sent me some pictures. I wish he wouldn't have. But yeah, Keith is battling a injury on his throttle foot, out of all foot. So he might be trying to figure out how he can kind of move the clutch and the throttle, reverse it maybe to kind of see if he can drive it with his left foot. So kind of a little adversity that Keith's going to go through, and if everybody knows us, it's not a joke. I know Keith and Chris are good with their pranks throughout the season, but this one was not. So Joey might be onto that. Matt might be onto that. But I think, to be honest with you, Jacob, I think we're looking at our champion in this room right here. I've been picking Matt all season long as one of my sleeper picks. I look at storylines. Joey is another storyline I look at. He's retiring after this season. We may see him back one day, but for the near future, he won't be back. So I can see both storylines playing out. My next question would be starting with Joey. You know, we talk about competition, but let's get personal. Who's the
Mm.
one person you don't want to see win the championship? And if you can't win it, who do you hope wins it?
Uh, well, I have nothing against him, but Keith. So Cinnamon's won 2 championships in Nazareth, but there's no one person that's won 2 championships in the same series as Friday or Monday, if I'm correct.
Correct.
So I
correct.
kind of want to kind of keep it that way. Another champion, and just go on from there. If not me, uh, Matthew Wood and Adam. I mean, them are the top 2 runners that I think are going to be there. I know how good Adam is, and Matthew's been just outstanding his rookie season. So I'd like to see another rookie win it, his rookie season. So
And Matt?
Yeah. I don't really have anything against, like he said, I don't have anything against
Well,
anybody.
look, we know nobody, personally, feels that way about somebody, but there's got to be somebody in the league, in the other 5 drivers. There's got to be somebody where you're like, man, I just hope he doesn't win it.
And I'm probably gonna go with Mark. Me and him have had our fair share of run-ins on the track, I guess. One of them being at um, where was that? I think it was at Phoenix. Drove in the corner, had a drive through, and plowed through me. So we're fine after that. But if not me, probably Joey, because he's retiring, and I didn't know that. By the way, I didn't know that before this, but that would be a magical way to go out if I can't do it. So that would be awesome.
There's more bromance going on right here,
Bromance,
Brady.
man. They act like look, Joey. Take your left arm and hold it out like this. Matt, put your right arm and hang it out like this. Look, they're holding
Oh,
hands. I tell you what, it's just the bromance group we got going on. That's the theme for tonight, I guess.
that's what it's looking like. I mean, that's exactly what it's looking like out of all that. But I got actually one more question for him because Brady, I just went back and I looked at the bracket that I did, and neither one of these guys is on the final 6. Neither one of you made the final 6. There was only 2 guys that was on that final 6, and those 2 we haven't even talked to yet. So I'm just curious. I mean, for both of you, Joey can go first. What's it feel like, to bust the redneck announcers bracket?
Oh, once I saw that, I was like, "That's a stupid bracket. He doesn't even have confidence." I made it back there last season. I'm like, "You're not thinking I'm going to make it back," and I was like, "You know what? I'm going to prove this guy wrong." And here I am. I was like, I just saw it, and I was like, "Man, it's like no confidence whatsoever." But no, I didn't. I didn't mind it. Everybody has different brackets, but I like proving people wrong, and I did that, and just glad that Matthew made it with me too.
What you got, Matt?
Yeah, I mean, of course, it's obvious to not put a rookie on the bracket because you don't know his pace, you don't know where he's been, what he's been doing. But I'm just happy that I could have made it. I mean, I know I had decent pace, but I didn't think I would have enough pace to really challenge these guys because people like Keith, man, he's really fast, and a lot of these guys are really fast, and it's really hard to win, and you have to work for it. So I think to be a rookie, to come in here to face the guys that I'm facing right now for a championship, I think it's pretty good to break that bracket. It feels great too, and Joey as well. So I think everybody, like I said earlier, everybody in here has worked really hard for it. So um, I think it feels good for everybody.
Well, in my bracket, I had Matt. I can't remember if I had Joey or not, but I know for sure I had Matt in my final six, and I actually have him winning the championship because, like I said, I'm following storylines with the whole Jeff Merck deal. I knew Matt was a good driver. I knew he was going to win. He should have more. We're going on the stat line right here. Matt comes in with 3 poles, 1 win, 7 top 5s, and 12 top 10s. The competition this season was just amazing. Joey, no poles, no wins, 2 top 5s, and 9 top 10s. Joey, just tell us a little bit. How has the season been for you? And Matt, I'll ask you a different question just because it's your first season with us. But Joey, kind of compare season 8. Like we've been doing this since 2019, 8 seasons. How does this season compare to? I believe you started in season 2. So how does this season compare to other seasons when you've made it to the championship?
Um, it the definitely the competition um got a little bit tougher um over the seasons. I mean, I started with season 2, and there were some fast guys there that ended up disbanding from the group or leaving on their circumstances, and then kind of trickled down, and then it got back to a point where we were going back up to stiffer competition with TW there winning some races, and then obviously Merck coming in is, and I know how good Merck was because of another league that we raced in together, um, and knowing Keith, Keith's always good for 5 or 6 wins. Stephen Thomas, he's also a former champion. He's got a couple of wins. He's, you know, it's just stiffer competition from even last year. I mean, I had a win last year, and I don't have a win this year. Just luck wasn't on my side, and I think that's just due to the competition that was brought into the league this year.
And Matt, it being your first season with us, kind of give us or the viewers or even people that may be fans of yours, kind of talk about how was your first season in Nazareth and what are you optimistic about or what you might look for in next seasons to come if you plan on racing with us. But just tell us a little bit about coming into it being your first season and how it all kind of played out for you.
Well, I mean, it was fun. The competition, like Joey said, has just been unreal this season. And I think another thing to go with that is when you're fast, a lot of people have racecraft, and that's something that I experienced all season. A lot of people having a bunch of good battles with me, side by side, inches off of each other, side drafting each other. And I'm optimistic next season going in, kind of knowing what I'm doing. I missed 3 races there at the beginning of the season, so that's going to help. Um, but like, it's going to be fun. I'm optimistic to come back next season, which I am. And this season, like I said earlier, it hasn't been the best of seasons when you look at if you're only looking at end of the race finishes, because again, crashes, me going too hard, other getting caught up in other people's mess, that kind of thing. Um, and they're all just racing incidents. It's no one person's fault. It's usually just a big racing incident. And another thing I've really enjoyed about this season is the long green flag runs that we can have, especially through the first half of the race. You get up to the stages, pretty much every stage is green flag. Um, and then, of course, stage 3, there's some cautions, but some race we can just run from flag to flag, only cautions are the stages. But, um,
Love you too. Go ahead. Sorry about that, y'all.
Cut the shit out of you.
Yeah, a little bit. Wasn't expecting that. But I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But yeah, that pretty much ended it right there, right as that happened.
Jacob, you got anything else for Matt or Joey?
I'm in shock right now. Anyway, no, I mean, both of you have done fantastic. I mean, Joey, congratulations on career with Nazareth, and hopefully, you'll be able to finally get that, that championship, that you've been wanting. And I mean, MDW, I mean, he's caught me by surprise. I mean, I've watched him a couple of times this season. Obviously, I didn't have him in, and he's right. He's right 100% on why I didn't have him in my championship six. Was just for the simple fact because he was a rookie. I didn't have Mark Morton in there as well. I had the veterans in there. And that's what I was thinking was all of it. And he proved me wrong. So, both of you guys, I mean, congratulations on making it to the championship six. Who knows? I might be interviewing y'all tomorrow night. You never know what can happen, but it's like I told the other two, make the best of it. I mean, just give it hell and see what happens. Don't lift. If you got the chance, don't lift. Hey, you going for a championship? Don't lift and take that chance.
Yeah, and like I said before, just some numbers. Keith's the only one in the field that's going for a two-time championship, being that he already won one at Charlotte 2 seasons ago. So we got five guys going for their first championship. Matt and Keith are the only one with wins in this bunch. So you got Adam, Joey, Phil, and Mark going for their first wins of the season. Um, Adam and Joey have won before. Phil, I know, I can't remember if Phil's won before. He does have a race win. I can't remember exactly where it was at, but I know that we posted a picture of
Milwaukee.
him doing burnouts. Milwaukee. Thank you,
Yep.
Joey. He did win. So Mark's never won before. So that could be a storyline right there for himself. His first win wins him a championship. So a lot of things going on as far as storylines go in this series this season. So before I let you go, Joey, is there anybody you'd like to thank, sponsors, and then Matt, we'll let you have the floor and you can do your thank yous after.
Like to thank Chris Blanchard for letting me stay up with Upfront. I didn't after I made the decision after the clash to leave M1, but I also like to thank you um, for allowing me to race here for so many years, being on your team. Um, Everybody that has any part of doing Nazareth with the broadcast crew, Jake, the Joker, got to keep it going. I'll always be the Joker no matter what, leaving here. And um, you guys are just amazing. Friends, foes, I have no bad ill will against anybody. My family, my friends that have supported me throughout the years. And I want to do a big shout out because I know that he's going through some things, but I want to shout out to Eric Zimmerman and say that I'm sorry for his loss. I've been there last year, and I did message him, reached out to him. If you need anything, we're all a family here. You guys were a family to me when I lost my mom. We're a family to him, or anybody else that's going through this. It sucks. Um, so much love to him, much love to the Nazareth family, and maybe one day I will be back. I just got to go through a few things personally, and maybe you'll see me back for season 10.
Yeah,
And Matt?
and yeah, same thing for me. I mean that is a very very hard thing to go through, and what's sad. I mean, um, all love goes to him, and I'm thinking about him. We're all thinking about him because, like Joey said, this is a family, and that's just happened. So he is probably in a lot of pain right now. So I can't imagine that. Um, but I do thank all of the drivers this season for putting on a show. I've had a lot of fun, like I mentioned earlier this season, and there's been a lot of people behind my back this season. Brady, you being one of them, and I've watched the broadcast. The broadcasts have been incredible. A lot of energy, love it. Um, NJB Designs is another one. We have our endurance team. Um, it's just njbdesigns.com. It's literally just the website. But that those guys have really helped me a lot. PCRL, just running. We won the 12 hours of Sebring together, 24-hour Le Mans together. It's been a really fun ride with them, and I hope to continue that going through next season. Almost won 6 hours, but I made a little oopsie whoopsie, and did a it was a whole team error. But yeah, it's been a really fun season. But most of all, I say it all the time. Thank the Lord for what He's done for me. This has just been, a journey mentally with that. But it there's not a time that He leaves you.
Well, we appreciate the kind words. Anything, Jacob? Just a last minute ad. Adam Newton is in the server, so we're gonna do an interview with Adam. Like I said earlier, Keith's out. I did ask him to come on. He said he was gonna try, but if he wasn't in by 9:30, just kind of roll without him. So we're gonna still interview Adam. That is, we just won't catch Keith. We'll catch him on another night or something. But before I let you go, Joey and Matt, Joey, dude, I know you've been in I know this is not goodbye. I know you're gonna still be around. You'll always be a part of the Nazareth community. I know you'll be back one day. Understand while you're taking a leave of absence. That's what I call it. I don't even want to say you're retiring. I just think that you're taking a leave of absence. But congratulations. As far as your not so last season, but kind of your last season, making it this far, Championship 6. Then you get to your best track, Homestead, your favorite track. I've seen you win races here. Like I said, best of luck to you, man. I'm so proud of you. Give it the best you can tomorrow night. Matt, man, I'm so glad you stuck with it. You and I had conversations throughout the season. I knew that you had it in you to make it this far, both of you guys. So I'm glad that you stuck around and gave us an opportunity. I look forward to seeing what the future holds for you, and maybe it might be you, hosting up that championship trophy tomorrow night. So congratulations to both of you guys, and may the best man win.
Thank you, Brady.
Thank you.
And that's going to do it for our interviews with Joey and Joey Doucette, that is, and Matthew David Wood. Joey, like I said, didn't really run with a team affiliate this season. He was on M1, left, went to Upfront. Has kind of been doing his own thing. Matthew David Wood, I know he's racing for Highline this season. He's going to move over to Mission One Esports next season and come join me. So definitely welcome. We think that's a great ad for us on that side to kind of revamp Mission One Esports. It kind of was a bumpy season for us, but we're gonna, like I said, go out there and recruit, and why not? Go after somebody like Matthew Wood. So best of luck to those guys, and we're gonna take a short commercial break, Jacob, and then we're gonna get Adam Newton on board, and we're gonna do our last round of interviews.
Starbase 1552 Comics. We sell everything a collector would want. Comics, Funkos, action figures, and so many more. A real American comic book shop. We are online only. Starbase 1552 Comics. Find us on eBay Auctions.
Hey, and welcome back to the Hot Lap with Tyler and Brady. Again, my buddy Tyler is out doing military work, which is understandable. Can't wait to have him back on the show. Like I said, we're gonna possibly do a show Sunday night, like we usually do. You can probably catch us on Spotify. But my buddy, the redneck announcer Jacob Reeves, has been kind to come join us tonight. And unfortunately, we're not going to have Adam on camera, but we do have him his audio going. So we're gonna do his interview. Unfortunately, Keith Bradley, like I said a while ago, is not gonna be able to join us tonight. We wish Keith nothing but the best of luck tomorrow night. Hope that he's well enough to even race tomorrow night. I know he's going through some stuff, but hope that he does join it, which I'm sure he will join if I know Keith, the animal. Bradley, he's going to be in the session doing the best he can to go for a championship. But we got Adam. Adam, you got a copy?
Yeah.
Well, we talked to Mark, we talked to Phil, we talked to Joe, we talked to Matt. You're the caboose tonight, man. So tell us a little bit about your race tonight. Weren't you fighting for a championship tonight?
Yeah, and pretty much clinched it.
Well,
I'll
good.
find out here in a couple minutes. This will be my first championship in that league, and it's competitive as heck. And I'm very proud to have done that tonight.
Well, congratulations first and foremost. Uh, we've been asking some of the drivers certain questions all night long, and we'll kind of piggyback that as me and Jacob go back and forth with you. But first of all, man, congratulations on making it this far. Tell us a little bit about your season of how it's going. Tell us a little bit, about a point in the season where it was, your biggest strength that you were like, okay, I can do this to make it this far. And then tell us a point in the season where you were like, oh man, I don't think this is going to happen. Like, I'm not going to be able to make it.
Well, I don't even know where to begin with this one. I literally thought that I was not going to make the playoffs the last race leading up to uh, getting ready to do the top 20. That's how bad the season was for me. I just couldn't stay out the wrecks. No top tens, no top fives, and I just by the stroke of luck, um, had a good run, made it to the top 20. Um, was able to, you know, really just do a 360 on the season through that first couple of rounds, and that's how I ended up where I'm at right now. It's been a crazy ride the last couple of weeks.
And I mean, Adam, I'll ask this as well. This is one of the questions that I asked Mark and MDW and Joey and Phil. So I ask you the same thing. Who's one of those guys that's your, I guess you could say, well, Brady, actually, I think that was your question. I'm trying to remember the other one that I asked
Yours
them.
is the biggest competition.
Biggest competition, yeah. Who's the biggest competition that you got as far as the championship six? And you can't cop out. You can't sit there and say all five of them. You got to pick one. Who's the biggest competition that you got to look forward to tomorrow night at Homestead?
Let's go with the second question. Let me think on that one for a second.
Oh, so you want to jump right into it where you want to talk about the one that you don't want to see win it, and if you can't win it, you hope the other person wins it.
Yeah, I'll take that question for next.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
man.
So if who's the one person in the group, and let's remind everybody, Keith's got a championship. He's going for a second one. Nobody else. Adam, Phil, Mark, Joey, Matt. They're going for their first one. You, Joey, well, Matt and Keith's the only one that have wins this season. So, who's the one person you don't want to see win it? And if you can't win it, who do you hope wins it?
I would say Matt because he is just, yeah, Matt. I can't say my new teammate Keith because that wouldn't go over good. But no, I think Matt, um, and I'm saying this with Keith not being 100%. Um, but yeah, I would have to say on the second one, there would either have to be Joey or Keith winning it.
Well, Jacob, I'm not sure if you're aware of this, and maybe a lot of people's not aware of this, but Adam Newton is leaving Sick With It Motorsports next season. Keith Bradley's leaving Upfront Motorsports, and Adam and Keith will be teammates at Blue Line Racing with Huck Wigginton in that group. So there might be a little bit of bias in that answer. So, uh, but go ahead, Jacob, with your question.
Yeah, I mean, I knew about it when I talked to Huck about it. Huck broke the news to me on my podcast, so I had a feeling about that. Matter of fact, now that you bring that up, that's something that I was gonna, ask you about it. What would it mean for you to win a championship for Swim? Which, I mean, Adam, granted, y'all been around a lot longer than I've been around here in Nazareth. I'm still somewhat quote unquote new, I guess you could say, to Nazareth. But as far as I've always remembered, you've always been with Swim. You've always been affiliated with Swim. So what would it mean for you to go out on top and win tomorrow night, win the championship, knowing that you're going to a new team, having all the history that you've got with Swim?
Oh, it'd be humongous. I mean, it'd be huge. I would love to do that for Team Swim, Dan, Jeff, Adam Newbert. I mean, that it would mean a lot to me to be able to do that. Um, I think that I can do it if things go the way I hope they do. But with the way the new updates are and stuff, you never know till you get in the actual room. All the testing, all that stuff, throw that out the window. Um, this, yeah, it would be huge.
Well, you kind of, we talked about you and Keith being teammates next season, and Jacob brings that part about it up. I actually want to ask this: are you and Keith working together this week? Are y'all sharing notes? Are y'all sharing information and practicing together, to kind of get that bonding period ready for next season, or what's you're not doing any of that, because it's like I want to win this over Keith, and I don't want to share anything with him that's going to help him out even more, even though he probably doesn't need help.
Well, due to the situation, it ain't my place to talk about it. I will help him in any form or fashion that I can. Um, I, haven't talked to him but once, and that was just, hey, how you doing? Um, and if you need anything, that kind of talk. Um, but if he needed my thoughts, assistance or whatever, yeah, I would help him. That's the right thing to do. I mean, don't let your teammates, go to the wayside. And it's the same with all of us. I mean, I would expect if I was in this situation or anybody else's, that folks would help me. But some may not. But it's just a way I feel about things.
Well, I mean, Adam, I'm gonna kick it back to the second question because I want to answer. I mean, obviously we've had a little time, I guess you could say, to think about it. But who are you feeling is your biggest competition tomorrow night out of all of you in the championship six? And you can't pick yourself, so that's a cop out on that. So you can't pick yourself.
And this is going to sound probably crazy to y'all, but I'll throw this out there. He did that to Dover and whipped our ass. Excuse my language. Phil Pappas. Phil is one of them guys, if you don't pay attention to him, he is like a venomous snake. He will sneak up on you, bite you and drive away from you. You've got to keep an eye on him in this race.
Wow.
And I'll kind of break down the stats for you and Keith because you two were scheduled to be on here. Keith comes in, he's got no poles, which is kind of interesting stat that I was looking at earlier. He's got 7 wins, the most across the series. 15 top fives, that's the most. 17 top tens, that's the most. And then Adam, you come in with no poles, no wins, 4 top fives, and 8 top 10s. So it's pretty much if we Jacob, we talk about these stats and whatnot. So obviously, everybody's looking at Keith Bradley, it seems like. When we asked everybody about their biggest competition earlier, Keith was by far the name we thrown out. But interesting enough, we saw some mixed reviews with the guys who didn't want to see that person win the championship and wanted to see the person win the championship. So that was pretty interesting. Adam, I'll go to you right now. What was it like telling Jeff and the swim guys that you were leaving and joining Blue Line next season?
It was difficult. I really, I mean, the guys wasn't so much as talking to Jeff, but Jeff knew what the mission was and knew why I was going and why I wanted to go. And the purpose was to help Keith and Huck turn Blue Line Racing around. And to get the addition of Devin this week, that was huge. And I think between all of us, we can definitely help Huck out and get Blue Line Racing, Cops, Murph's Magic, all the sponsors involved with this, Blue Line Racing, and turn that group around to be a force to be reckoned with.
And I mean, Adam, you talked about that. Obviously, going over the Blue Line, obviously, that's going to be a big deal, which is going to be different, like I've talked about. I'm just curious. I got to ask you this. I'm just curious. Is Huck going to paint your truck? I got to know if Huck is going to paint your truck because obviously Huck been real big on making paint schemes and everything else. So I'm curious, is Huck going to be painting your truck?
Yes, that I confirm that. Yes.
All right.
Well, Adam, congratulations on making it, all the way to the championship 6. We've seen you in this position last season at Legacy Atlanta. You came up short in that race, even though you were leading a lot of those laps in that race. How was your mindset from? I believe it was your first time in the championship final last season. Correct me if I'm wrong on that.
Yes.
Okay, so now you make it back-to-back seasons. Did you learn something from last season that can kind of translate over to this season? Do you feel like you're more confident this season going into this championship race than you were last season? Kind of compare the two seasons, season 7 and season 8's championship race, as far as pregame goes.
Totally different. I'm definitely approaching it way differently than what I did at Atlanta. One, the drivers all but, you didn't have Keith in the final 6 last year, but you did have Joey, you had Robbie in there, and yeah, you have to really play it off of 2 things. Who's in the 6? And now with the different setups, I'm racing the track more this time than I am my competition. And we've seen that the last 4 races. This new setup deal has thrown a wrench into everything. And, say if they don't stay consistent, and you do, you have a real shot of putting a lot of time on them. And so I'm gonna race the racetrack. I'm not gonna worry about the competition. And when it comes down to the last 20, that might change, but I doubt it. I'm gonna try to do the best to win it. But like I said, I'm gonna race the race, not them.
I mean, and Adam, I'll ask you this. We talked about it just a second ago with who your biggest competition is with Phil. You mentioned Dover. I'm just kind of curious as far as like, I mean, obviously, iRacing's went through the updates. We know about how the setup has completely shifted on how that truck is, especially for Monday nights. I mean, are you looking at it as Dover is like a similar track to Homestead? Is that what you're feeling out of that? Even though that there has been changes with the trucks, with iRacing updating them and everything?
Strategy. The only reason why I brought up Dover was strategy. Phil played a excellent strategy call, and I was too busy racing Keith, Merck, and other folks. We were, I finally got up there at Keith and Merck, and we were 1, 2, 3, and I was racing them thinking, hey, this is going to be for the win. Here comes Phil out of nowhere, passes all of us, and wins the race. And it was like, no, I'm not going to do that again. Not in this kind of race. They can do whatever they want, fly, speed, but I am going to be watching my lap times, pacing myself, and if they're 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm gonna let them battle it out. That the stakes are too high, somebody will make a mistake, and that's what I have seen the last couple races since the update. I mean, you think about it, Jacob. Look at how many green white checkers we've had the last couple weeks. If this championship race comes down to that, who's going to have tires? Who's going to have the best strategy to win this thing?
Makes sense.
Well, we appreciate you coming on last minute, Adam. I know you had other arrangements tonight, but we appreciate you making the show. Before we let you go, man, is there anybody you'd like to thank or sponsors and any shout outs you'd like to give? We're going to give the floor to you right now.
Yeah, thank you and Jacob, Nazrel, Cody, all the board members, my teammates, Jason, Justin, excuse me. It's been a long night. Justin, Tom, Adam, Justin Lumpkin, Newbert, Jeff Suckles, Dan, Joey. I mean, I can keep going on, and Blake, and I know I'm gonna forget someone. Um, all of our personal sponsors, DSR Electric, A's Lawn and Landscaping, Millie's, Mama Jeans for me, LPP Race Cars. They, if these folks didn't do what they did, we could. I was want to give a shout out to Zimmerman about his mom. Sorry to hear that. Thoughts and prayers with them. Give a old animal. Hope he can make it tomorrow night. And just appreciate the guys in the final 6 for making this, come together. This will be fun.
Well, congratulations on making it, man. Back-to-back seasons. Hopefully, we'll be talking to you on our next show further down the line whenever we, have one, and we might be talking to you as our champion after tomorrow night. So good luck tomorrow. And I just want to let you know, Joey Doucette wants to let you know that the curse is on. Might be some kind of inside joke between you two. I don't know. But that's what he told me to tell you, that the curse is on. So good luck tomorrow night, buddy, and we'll definitely be seeing you.
Yeah, I